the main thing that people should be optimistic about as a kind of, you know, warding mechanism is the fact that the Pentagon is generally quite neoliberal and institutionalist. Those guys don't like the modern GOP that much, you know? The top brass at the Pentagon are all, you know, stiff upper lip, West Point graduates. They're very well educated. They're very, very drilled in with, you know, the order and decorum and responsibility. The military culture over at the Pentagon, at the moment at least, seems to strongly incline them against GOP takeover. Same with the FBI to an extent. I got shit for saying this exact thing to my friends. Then your friends are wrong and should look more into the issue. The disposition of the military changes massively depending on the country. Historically, in some countries, you know, the military has been essentially just another, like, fascist, like, wing. Not the case here, you know. Things vary. Wasn't there a peaceful socialist revolution in Africa? What was that? Wasn't the carnelian? It's the flower, the something, flower revolution. What was it called? The Carmelian? Revolution Africa? Is that it? Carnation? Was it the Carnation? One Carnation? Oh, there we go. Yeah, this was like one of the biggest dubs socialist revolutionaries ever got. It was an actual military-backed peaceful revolution. This was like some hippie shit, you know? A military coup by left-leaning military officers that overthrew the authoritarian Estado Novo government in 1974 in Lisbon, producing major social, economic, territorial, demographic, and political changes in Portugal. Oh, not in Africa, in Portugal, my apologies. And its overseas colonies through the Processo Revolucionario em Curso. It resulted in the Portuguese transition to democracy and the end of the Portuguese colonial war. Remember, folks, when leftists win, good things happen. When people on the right wing, bad things happen. Every time, all the time. Well, not every time, but it's known to happen. The Carnation Revolution got its name from the fact that almost no shots were fired, and from a restaurant worker, Celeste Cairo, offering carnations to the soldiers when the population took to the streets to celebrate the end of the dictatorship, and with other demonstrators following suit and carnations placed in the muzzles of guns in the soldiers' uniform. This is what we did in, I'm forgetting the university, but when the soldiers shot the, Kent State, that was it, Kent State. How'd that go for Kent State? Yeah, I better make sure the people on the other side are left-leaning, I guess. The vast majority of the military is absolutely not liberal or Mao. I can tell that your IQ is flagging somewhat, wilting in the sun from the all caps. But to remind, I'm not saying the whole military is liberal. I'm saying the brass at the Pentagon have a neoliberal bent. And look into it if you want to. Why wouldn't the military and Pentagon reasonably believe they can ride out a U.S. fascist takeover? Because what I'm saying is, the Pentagon, first of all, if a coup happens, the Pentagon has to sign off on it. There is nothing that happens in this country that does not happen with the implicit permission of the Pentagon. That you breathe means they allowed you to. It's the Pentagon. So they're not going to ride anything out. They get to decide who's in charge. In matters of constitutional instability, the person with the most guns gets to decide who's in charge, and the military has the most guns by far. And the biggest ones. So they would, and at the moment, it seems like the Pentagon is correctly of the opinion that whatever values they do have would be better served by actual liberal democracy and not by a populist fascist takeover. Trump can nominate his own Pentagon, he'd be the president? No? Well, no. If Donald Trump seized the power illegitimately, the Pentagon probably wouldn't respect his order to step down. They would handle it. Also, he can't just pick the Pentagon. It's a bit more complicated than that. But if he seized power illegitimately and started being dictatorial, the Pentagon is both extremely capable of stopping him and seems to be willing to. Mark Milley was literally making plans to stop a Trump coup during the run-up in January 6th. Yeah. Hold on. The wokest general. To give you an idea of the threat they feel is present within the Pentagon, Donald Trump has made comments implying he wants Milley executed. And Paul Gosar, the Republican congressman who's friends with Nick Fuentes, just flat out said that he should be hanged. Well, he actually said hung, but yeah, it's hanged, actually. Last wish, you have the right link? Here we go. They're not going to fucking succeed. Top generals fear Trump would attempt a coup after election, according to new book. Where's that quote that you provided? They may try, but they're not going to succeed. You can't do this without the military. You can't do this without the CIA and the FBI. We're the guys with the guns. That is true. He is correct. If there's one thing I know about the military, they do have a lot of guns. Lol, 100% of right-wingers own guns. Hello, person who recently made an account. That's not true, but let's say it is. So, the United States military has big guns. Very big guns. All right. Vaush, there are probably more people like General Flynn in there, and the foot soldiers are like 80% conservative MAGA types. That's actually not true. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure from the last polling that I saw, the majority of the military lean Democrat. What's more, to the extent that conservatives do exist within the military, I don't know how many of them, or what proportion of them would be like Trumpist, like hardline Trump supporters, you know? My guess is that it wouldn't be a very significant portion of it. People project a lot of assumptions onto the military. It's a very complicated environment. And yeah, and military leadership are significant. So yeah, two big points. First of all, the brass at the Pentagon, military leadership, are college educated. College educated people are not very likely to be like hardcore conservatives. That sounds dumb, but it's not. There is a sort of like institutional respect that gets grained into you at West Point or whatever else. That is, you know, it's literally like brainwashing. That's the point, is the military. And that is difficult to overcome. Additionally, please keep in mind that the average age of your, like rank and file member of the military has to be, I mean, we're talking like young people here, 18, 19, 20, 21, like young people. Take a look at the political interests of young people, you know? They're pulling from the wokest demographic in history. Admittedly, it's mostly men, not men and women, but you know, it's complicated, is the thing I'm saying. It's complicated. The real threat would be armed police. Yeah, to civilian uprisings, but again, the military signs off on everything implicitly, so. This is actually more polarized than I thought. This is from August 31st, 2020, so this would have been in the lead up to the election that he lost. Trump's popularity slips in latest Military Times poll, and more troops say they'll vote for Biden. 50% of respondents had an unfavorable view of President Trump, compared to 38% who had a favorable view. That's not bad, you know? From 2020, though? Yeah, but at the end of his presidency. Yeah, Trump would shit on soldiers constantly. He leaked information to our enemies. He praised our enemies. You know, he did a lot of stuff to, you know, get the troops negatively inclined. Hold on. U.S. Army political polling. Any more recent, new polling data suggests active duty military members worry about the politicization of the U.S. military. To decrease the trust, active members of the military include the changing policy to allow unrestricted service by transgender individuals. When is this from? 2023? So it seems 80% of active duty members in the military believe that returning to the Pentagon's previous policy of allowing unrestricted service by trans people makes them worry, like lowers their trust in the military. All right, sorry guys, the military might be transphobic. But who knows with these guys? They probably say they're homophobic, but they're all fucking each other. Wait, hold on. This is from Heritage. Wait, hold on. I thought I was on Military Times. I forgot. This is from Heritage. Never mind. You can't trust any of this. Hold on. Back it up. Yep. Hold it way back. Yeah, I'm not doing a whole fucking methodology deep dive, but the Heritage Foundation is one of the pillars of evil. Yeah, the Project 2025 people. Yeah, I wouldn't, classic pick of us soldiers watching Vaush. Yeah, that's true. This is standard deployment stuff. How could the military possibly be conservative when this is the shit they're watching while on deployment? These motherfuckers about to go airdrop into Syria, getting some pointers. Vaush 2020 in-depth dive for voting in the election tendencies. Okay, so these are for veterans. Trump backed by majority of veterans, but not younger ones. Interesting. 52% of vets surveyed said they plan to back Trump or have already backed him in early voting. About 42% say Biden. This is veterans too, not active service members, which means they're going to be older on average. So, but what about younger people? Trump support among veterans comes predominantly from individuals age 55 or older. The older generation of veterans is the only subgroup surveyed with a larger favorable view of Trump's time in office than unfavorable. Nice. Among veterans who first enlisted or entered the officer corps after 2001, after the Afghanistan war, about 60% say they have a negative view of his presidency. Okay, so it doesn't take very long for you to reach the, like, ice core layer of veterans who don't care for Trump as much. And that's literally like Gen Xers, you know, who would have enlisted, like, back for Afghanistan or Vietnam. Veterans aged 35 to 54 were even more pronounced in their opposition to the current president. 51% plan to back Biden. Okay, yeah. See, this is what I mean, huh? It's just the older vets, and this isn't active service members or whatever. This is just veterans, but you know, you see more of this. I see a lot of support for Biden shifted to the independents, the third-party candidates here. That's interesting. Whereas Trump support's pretty comparable. It's like 4 points moved over. Whatever. Anyway, this is tangential, but I stand by this. I just like keep an eye on the Pentagon, but for the moment, just don't buy into the idea that a lot of people have that every single fucking guy in the military is some kind of like ultra right-wing fascist, because that's just not true. That's bullshit, you know?